It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
It's a Trevor Plouffe Tuesday on a Thursday here. Very meta. We got Plouffe back from All-Star festivities. Our guy Dex back from tying the knot, going to Vegas for a mini moon. Got that ring. So now Declan's the fourth member here to get married. So all of us now are married. And Declan's getting used to the ring for the first time, Trevor.
It's just how it goes. It feels heavy at the beginning. It's kind of like the ring in Lord of the Rings, where as you get closer and you start to put it on, it gets a little heavier. But then by now, I don't even notice I have it on, so it'll feel better. But congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, the things that stood out the most was when I was at the ceremony, at my own wedding ceremony, I should say, and I grabbed a beer bottle and it was clanking. That was weird. And then shortly after, I went to the restroom and had to wash my hands. That was also weird, with like soap, water, getting like, I was like, that's a new sensation. And then today's like my first day back at work since I obviously got married. Typing. That's easily been, I don't really like that. That's been the weirdest one.
Is your ring finger just like, is it just hammering the keys because it weighs more? Or
no,
what's
it's just
your
more of like, I use
problem?
my ring finger a good amount to type, and it just like, it kind of, it moves around a little bit, bounces around a little bit. So
you'll
that
get
part's
used
a little
to
weird.
it.
Yeah.
It's like 2 weeks or so. It's not long.
Okay.
Well, Judd, you said
Typically,
you had driving problems for like 2 months after you got married.
Anything where the ring hits like a bottle, a wheel, it's noticeable. And I am not a jewelry guy. So like it was.
We should bling you out. We should bling you out. If the Twins get to the playoffs, we should get you.
Kirk Cousins can bling out. I'm not blinging out.
One of my buddies had a gold chain on for his wedding, and I've been talking about it for it was a topic of conversation during the mini moon in Vegas. I was like, I kind of want one now. Like a small one, a very small chain, just a small gold chain.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay. I like it. I got a little gold chain.
Okay. All right.
Did you wear that? Did you wear jewelry when you played?
No, I'm also like not a jewelry guy. I'm like not a watch guy. I have one nice watch that my wife got me for my 30th birthday, and I don't wear it ever. I had a St. Christopher, a necklace that you get at a surf shop. Like it was $30. That's what I wore when I played. My brother actually is a psycho in the best way. He was a poker player for a while, not like professionally, but he was a good poker player, and he would win these tournaments. And for some reason, he bought like a Jesus piece, and he's
like
also
a
not
cross
a
or like
cross,
actual like
cross,
Jesus. Okay.
And cross
Jesus' face.
But it was like diamonds and stuff, and he like would never wear it. So like he gave it to me one year, and he's like, "Hey, like I think you should wear this during the year." And I'm like, okay. And so I had it in spring training, and literally the first game we went, and I don't know where we went. I think it was Bradenton to play the Pirates. And I took it off when I showered and left it there. And so I got it back, thank God. But then I was like, hey bro, like take this back. Like I can't, I'm not used to
be responsible for this.
I'm not a necklace guy. So, but I have this one now. My mother-in-law gave me this one. I like it.
When I was in college, I won a big online poker tournament. And my roommates were like, what are you going to buy? I'm like, oh, you got to buy something. And I went, it's the dumbest purchase of my life. I went and bought like a blinged, it was probably like, it was like a few $100s, but it was like a blinged out Ace of Spades card, like kind of like silver. There was no like spiritual or religious meaning. It was just like the most vain possible thing you could buy. And I like wore it to class a couple times, and people are like, what are you wearing, dude? You're an idiot. So that lasted about a month.
What'd you do with it? You still have it?
I don't have it anymore. I don't, I think
You sell it?
I don't think I sold it either. I think it either just like, I think I gave it to somebody. I don't even remember what happened to it, but
That's
I wore it for like a month. I
can actually see that, for being honest. I could see you rocking that.
Just in a douchey manner.
My
Like
dad
an
wore
affliction
chains, man.
t-shirt.
I could never do that. He had a big chain too, 70s style, unbuttoned shirt,
some chest hair.
hair.
The problem is like some of those chains are like yank out your chest hair, and
ow,
it can be kind of a problem.
very
Anyways, how was the All-Star festivities, Trevor? Any fun highlights besides late nights and content?
Yeah. It was long. It was fun. Those the All-Star event. that's I call it an event because it's like it's 3 or 4 days of doing stuff. You show up on Sunday night. We went to the Players Alliance party, which is something like CC Sabathia, Edwin Jackson, Curtis Granderson. That's their charity. So we saw like Fergie Jenkins was there getting honored. Prince Fielder was there getting honored. We had a great time dressed up like in cowboy hats and stuff. Really went with the theme of Texas, and that was fun. And then the Home Run Derby, I think, is my favorite event of the All-Star week. We never actually go to the All-Star game, but I've heard from multiple people that do both, that the Derby it's everyone's rooting for the same thing. You're just looking for big home runs. That was fun. It ended really well with Bobby Witt coming 2 feet within tying it and sending it into like an overtime type thing. So that was fun. And then we had our event, our John Boy event. We always hold it like most of the time it's like at a brewery because they have a lot of space, and we just had our community there, and it's really fun to interact with them. I think that's something that we have that really separates our company from a lot of different content creators, is like our community is really, really strong, and they come, and we have people now, they come every year and they'll meet people at the event, and then they'll the following year like get Airbnbs together and they exchange numbers. They go watch baseball together. It's really become like almost like a forum for baseball fans. And it's, I don't know if we set out to like do that. It's just kind of become that. And it kind of like just speaks to it speaks to baseball fans in general. Like you got Cardinals fans hanging out with Cubs fans, Astros fans there hanging out with Yankee fans. Like it's a really kind of a special event. So that's always my favorite aspect of it. But MLB does a good job with the All-Star game. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's got to be for you guys too, just like building that business over the last 4 or 5 years. We did at SKOR North here, our big event is the Purple Daily, the Vikings draft party. And so we were at the Fillmore, Minneapolis this year, and we were doing just before the show started. It's kind of a meet and greet up in the balcony level. And someone came up to, I think it was just me and Judd and Declan was like off to the side or something, but someone came up and said, who we had never met before, but is a listener every day. And it was the coolest compliment you can ever receive doing this for a living, just like being an idiot on a microphone talking about sports. He said, I feel like I'm meeting my best friends who've never met me before. Because you're like part of their, like baseball fans, you're part of their life. And I'm sure you get people walking up to you who feel like they've known you for 3 years or whatever it is, and you're meeting for the first time at an event like that.
Yeah, we get that all the time. And I think that's why it's really important that you guys do an event like that we do an event. We're starting to do more and more events. We want to show gratitude to fans, and it's really hard to do that just over the microphone. Like we can always say thank you for supporting, but when you actually get to look somebody in the eye and say like thank you, like and give them some time and some face to face, I think it's really, really, really important to do that. And it does. I mean, it's crazy to think, we live in people's phones, they're seeing us time and time again. It actually gives you perspective. Like, hey man, like I better like, to me, that's what it does. Like when I meet people who say like they listen to me every day, I'm like, dude, I better step my game up. You don't want to like, you want to do well by these people. You want to make sure you're giving them good factual information. You want to entertain them at the same time. It just makes me motivated when I meet people that say that.
And your podcast with Chris Rose, to me, Trevor, is fantastic. And one reason is you embrace the same thing that we do. Nobody does what we call reckless speculation when it comes to baseball as good as you guys. I love the schoolboy conversation, and I love the fact that both of you guys embrace these like long shot trades, but you start to talk and like go through them and like justify them. So right now, what is your best like reckless speculation baseball trade that we might see that for the most part the mainstream talking heads don't talk about?
Oh man, there's so much going on right now because we have so many teams in contention still. I believe we counted today, it was like 22 teams, if you really break it down, are still in contention for at least the third wild card spot. So you have some clear sellers, but a team like the Rangers to me is really fascinating because Chris Young has come out and said, as I think it was like 2.5 weeks ago, he said, we're most likely going to have to sell. That's just the reality of the season. They went on a little hot streak. And now yesterday he had quotes saying, I think we're going to be buyers. And it's like, that's crazy, but that's how it is now with the extra wild card. So yeah, we talked about Jackson Holiday, and could the Orioles trade him? And that's a big one. But I think a lot of people are thinking about that because the Orioles are in the position that they have a bunch of prospects. They have guys kind of filling up that infield right now, and Jackson Holiday would be an attractive piece. So another reckless speculation. First of all, I love that.
Every time you say it, we have to.
Yep, that's our sounder.
Don't tell me that because I'm just going to keep saying it. Okay.
Go ahead and steal it. That's fine. We're all friends here.
You kind of put me on the spot here. I'm not going to lie. A good one that we could see happen.
Can we see Mike Trout get traded at some point?
It doesn't have to be
Why?
one.
Why is Mike Trout still playing for the Angels?
That's a great point.
They've come out and said many times that that's not going to happen. I think their ownership is so weird. Their Artie Moreno is so weird, and he looks, I believe, and just from my perspective, he kind of looks at Mike Trout as like, hey, like this is our guy. If we trade Mike Trout, a lot of people don't have reason to come to the game.
Boy, if we trade Mike Trout, we might struggle to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not about winning. It's about like that's our show pony, for lack of a better term. They need to have a guy like that. He's the head, he's the face, and people go there just to see Mike Trout. Would it happen at some point? I would love for it to see.
Should happen.
He's played 3 playoff games.
No,
in his career.
How about this? How about Mike Trout going home and being a
Philly?
Oh,
I know
insane.
that everybody loves that. In fact, I don't think that is. You know what? I'm not going to say it again.
I'll just say it. Say it.
I don't think it is. I think that eventually could happen, but here's the thing: like the Angels have to pull the trigger on that quickly because what they're going to ask for is going to be astronomical. And you still, if you're the team that's trading for Mike, you want to say, hey, he's got his best years ahead of him, or some of his best years ahead of him. Still, you can't wait till he's 35 years old to pull the trade. And I think he's 32.
Yeah.
This year, so that would have to happen quickly. Another good. I'm trying to really think right now for you because it's a really good question. I think the Rays are interesting. I don't think that's like a big blockbuster thing though. If they were to trade Randy Arozarena or if they were to trade Yandy Diaz, I don't think that's like some earth-shattering move. I think that they have proven that they can kind of be buyers and sellers at the same time. They've already sold part of their starting pitching staff. They're sickos like that. They can do it.
I'll throw a Twins one out that I can't remember if this name has come up in our discussions with you, but it's the one that Declan and I are stumping the most for. But it does require the Rangers to finally be like, okay, we're done here. Nathan Eovaldi.
I said that. That's
on the
great.
show. Did you say it on this show?
No,
I don't know.
not on this show. We
Dude,
did.
he'd be perfect for this rotation.
Yeah, I love that. I said that he has a vesting option, which I believe may or may already have vested. So he's going to be a free agent. He's going to test the market. He would love to get traded because, I don't know if he's had the qualifying offer or not. I think he already has.
I think if he hits 300 innings between last year and this year, then his player option vests and he would be under contract next year, right? I think that's
well. He would have the choice, but he's gonna he's gonna opt out of that unless he gets hurt. I love it. I said that we had like a trade draft episode, and I said Eovaldi to the Twins I think is perfect because he's like a dog, and I don't know if we have like a dog in the pitching staff right now. Like he's proven in the postseason. It's almost like when he shines the most. Like he's had some really great postseason moments. We have some great pitchers, but like nobody that's really done it in the playoffs necessarily. And I love Joe Ryan and Pablo. I think is going to figure it out. Like it's crazy to me that he has had the first half that he's had. I think he's going to make adjustments. I think he's going to have a great second half. I really do. But I think Eovaldi, if he gets traded, I think Eovaldi starts game one. I think he becomes like the ace and like is like we're putting this guy out there. Yeah, he's got the track record for it.
It solves the internal problem of Pablo? Yeah, okay, nope. This guy with ridiculous shoving postseason history is your number one starter. But then your game 3 starter is either Joe Ryan or Pablo, and now you feel
good.
I mean, there's been years. All due respect to, I love me some Brian Dunsing, one of the best humans ever. Who was the other guy? Randy Dobnak. Like they've had some game 3 starters in the playoffs that like.
Dobnak was game 2 in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. You got to go in with some ammo.
I got one for you. Number one, how do you guys feel about Carlos Santana being traded away from the Twins. Like,
I've
there's a
heard you
need at
say-
first base, right?
I like this one.
There's a need at first base for a couple different teams, the Yankees, the Houston Astros. He's been playing great. We have a surplus of talent at corner infield, especially when Royce comes back. So like you could see that, where they could recoup something for a 1-year guy. Here's the big one of my reckless speculation.
Reckless speculation.
The Diamondbacks trading Christian Walker is something that I've thought about. They made the World Series last year. They're 1 game back of the wild card, but it's a seller's market, and he could command a pretty penny. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Again, the Yankees are looking for a first baseman. The Astros are looking for a first baseman. A lot of teams are looking for a pure hitter. Seattle's looking for hitting, and they've already done business with each other before recently. I think and I don't think this is going to happen, but if they decided, hey, like, this is max value and we think we could really pop off and bring some people back, I think that's one.
It does feel, and I know some more prospect rankings are starting to trickle back out because of the MLB draft that obviously took place this last week. It feels safe to say, like, Walker Jenkins, and I know Brooks Lee is still technically number 2, but like is obviously going to graduate off this prospect list, assuming that he's here for good, which I think he is here for good. It feels like after those 2 that there'd be no one that is like off limits. Like I don't think they're going to trade Walker Jenkins. I'd be really surprised. But I think everyone else, prospects 3 through 15, let's call it that. Plus you add in, I know guys like Julian's, value is a little tanked because he's in AAA right now. He's figuring things out. But Matt Wallner's figured stuff out. Like, it feels like after those 2, there is an open for business sign if the Twins did want to do that. And if they didn't, because they do legit now after this draft, they have one of the best prospect pools in baseball. So, like, there is an opportunity here, in my opinion, with the surplus of prospects to go out and try to get someone big.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent at the upper levels as well. So you talk about prospects and guys they just drafted, and teams look at them, but there's also these guys that could kind of immediately help, whether it's this year or next year. Talking about a Julian, talking about a Wallner. Kirilloff has kind of tanked his value a little bit, unfortunately, but I think he's a guy that teams are still going to be interested in, but it'd be selling pretty low on him.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lot of options. I'm just very curious to see what this front office, has up their sleeve, because as good as this lineup is, and as good as the bullpen is, I still just don't like. Can you guys realistically right now say the Minnesota Twins have everything they need to win a World Series?
No, not yet.
No,
Right?
I think the rotation is actually a worse playoff rotation going into this year than last year, because it went Gray, Lopez, Ryan. Like, I think they 100% need a starter for, especially a best 2 or 3 to start on the road, most likely. Yeah, no.
It's either you take that position and say we need to go get a starter, or you are saying we're going to go heavy bullpen and we're going to bring in another bullpen piece, and we're just going to let our starters go 4 innings, and then we're going to try to just go. Like that, teams are doing that. You can get by in the playoffs doing that, I think. But it just seems to me like the pitching is still a little light. If we're talking about, hey, we're really making a run at the World Series this year, Nathan Eovaldi to me was and is the perfect guy to go get. I don't think they're going to be in on Crochet. I don't think, maybe someone from the Blue Jays might be available. Like, is a Chris Bassett? Is he a difference maker? Like, kind of. I think he's in the conversation for a guy that you can go get. I think Gossman's owed way too much money. They wouldn't do that. So
Kikuchi?
I don't think he's a difference maker. I know he's a lefty, and like he's shown flashes, but man, Nathan's our guy. Like, I'm convinced. I'm glad you brought him up. We're thinking
Print
on the
the
same
t-shirts.
level
We're
here.
tracking. Yeah,
Evaldi's our guy.
He's our
Make it
guy.
happen.
Out there.
Make it happen. Hey, before we maybe even get into more reckless speculation, I don't know what's coming up here, but I do know that you can get Twins tickets at twins.com/tickets. Got the Brewers coming in, the Phillies, little Bryce Harper action. He was dressed like a cowboy this week too.
Everybody was, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, your soda summers, the second half anyways, starts this week. 612 Saturdays, $6 beers, $1 snacks, $2 food. Sunday kids days. It's one of the best ballparks still, even after 15 years in the entire country. Twins.com/tickets. Dex, if people do come to a Twins game and maybe they're coming in from out of town, it'd be nice if there was a hotel steps away from the ballpark that they could crash at.
There is. It's the Element Hotel. It's a great little area here. You got some big home games coming up. I'm sure there are some Brewers fans and Phillies fans likely staying at the Element Hotel. And hey, maybe these guards that are going to be coming to town.
Brewers fans, they have showers at Element Hotel.
Yeah.
Use them.
They have showers. They have great snack options.
Wow.
Plenty of great stuff.
You can hang your beige cargo shorts and Jeff Jenkins jerseys in the closet at Element too.
Well, yeah.
That'd be great.
How many Corey Hart jerseys am I going to count this weekend between the Twins and Brewers? I'm gonna try to keep counting the most obscure Brewers jerseys I could possibly get. Maybe some Ricky Weeks.
Ricky Weeks.
That.
The Prince Fielder's a popular one too.
Corey Hart. Carlos Lee, right? Carlos Lee at one point was a Brewer,
couple
correct?
nice seasons. Yeah.
So all those guys.
I'm on MLB Trade Rumors. They came out actually with an article today about Twins looking into rental starters, and they mentioned it actually stinks that there's a lot of these guys who are going to be available that are good or in the AL Central. So I just don't think it's going to happen. It's like Flaherty. I don't think the Tigers aren't going to do business with the Twins, are they?
I think like for Lorenzen they could, but like the Skubal idea is completely
Skubals. No, that's not going to happen. No chance they would do that.
Yeah.
But they don't mention our guy, so I think we might be in on something. I think that we're going to be the first to really be in on that.
If Eovaldi or his agent need a place to stay, Element Hotel, go book it right now. Okay, SKORNorth.com.
Or any of your guys' houses, you would allow that as well. I'm assuming.
Yes.
If he wants to stay right
couch.
Here, the Mackey
you can stay on the couch.
Oh wow! So you've never invited any of us to your house in like 20 years, but you would invite Nathan Eovaldi?
Well, I'd charge him rent.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be free, but yeah, he could stay on my couch. He could watch my TV, provided he watches the right things.
Sure, he can afford it.
None of that reality crap.
Hey, how panicked should we be about Carlos Correa's plantar fasciitis here again? Or is it fasciitis or fasciitis? How do we pronounce it?
I think it's fasciitis.
Fasciitis?
Yeah.
Second year in a row.
Just say it quick.
Different foot, right?
Yeah, right foot.
I don't know. I don't know anything about the injury. I don't know the severity of it. I haven't really poked around on it.
They're saying it's like a more mild case, but
and in his opposite foot.
Yeah.
I'm pretty worried about it. He's been one of, if not the biggest reason the Twins are doing what they're doing offensively. Like having a guy like that at shortstop that can provide you with plus offensive prowess. It's a cheat code in Major League Baseball. So I'm worried about it 100%. Now, does Royce Lewis looming return kind of ease that a little bit? Sure, especially because Brooks Lee has looked really good and Miranda's doing what he's doing. But we want all those guys. I want an infield of Royce, Correa, Lee, Miranda. I want that. That's what we need. So it's. I haven't heard anything about it, but if you're asking me if I'm worried about it, then 100%, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing too, to go back to the plantar fasciitis in his left foot last year is where it really affected him. Trevor was at the plate, but he still played a very solid, good quality shortstop. But he grounded into double plays. It was clear, when you look at the contrast in years, it was clear that foot caused him a lot of problems. So, I mean, if I'm the Twins, I'm downplaying it. It's not as severe, blah, blah, blah. I personally would probably IL him for 10 days because he played through it all last year. Credit to him for being tough, but I don't know that's the best. I'd rather get him as healthy as possible than to try and push through it until it rips, which is the only healing thing. So,
well, he even came out and he said, hey, I kind of learned my lesson last year that you don't get credit for grinding it out when you're hurt. People only care about the production and numbers.
And question you.
He was talking directly to Judd, I think, when he said that.
And they bring up your inability at the plate to be effective, and then they say your contract's a bad contract.
It's one of the worst contracts in all of sports.
Just jerks saying
with
that.
No empathy for the underlying reasons. But yeah, if he sat for a couple weeks, they can manage. They're going to stay within striking distance. I'd rather him sit for 2 or 3 weeks and be ready for the stretch run. But
it's going to be, I mean, I agree with that. And then Jose Miranda is also on the 10-day IL. It's going to look a lot different if Carlos goes on the IL. Both of those guys out of the lineup, I think. So if the Twins come out flat, like, don't freak out, Twins fans, because two of their best hitters are on the IL, right?
I can see.
If he goes down, does that mean? Is that a Julian to the big leagues thing?
Brooks to short, Julian's been hot
Castro
early.
would go to short, right, Dex?
I think Cash would be their number one option at short, but Brooks would
And
mix
then
in there.
leave Brooks at where's Brooks going to play?
You could leave Brooks. Well, Brooks could play third or second,
He'll
depending on if
third,
Royce Lewis.
Julian second, Castro at short. That's a completely different look.
Yeah.
Well,
Then you trade Carlos Santana and you put Julian at first. I mean, there's so many things you could.
When Royce comes back, it'd be Royce at third, Lee at second, Castro at short term.
Yes. When is Royce? I know we talked about after the break. Have we heard anything concrete about when he's coming back?
No, I would envision that on Saturday when they obviously host the Brewers and we can get access for the first time basically in a week plus. I bet there'll be somewhat of a plan, hopefully, because it sounded like they were just going to shut him down and then come up with a plan by the time the All-Star break happens and is done with.
Let's text right now and see if we can figure that out.
Look at this.
Oh, I love this.
Look at this.
This is great. We're gonna break news right now.
The Jeff Passan of this show is.
I'm not texting Royce.
Well,
let's send Royce a note. Let's send Royce a DM.
But if we ask Royce, love Royce, fan of the show, but Royce will say I can play tomorrow. Right. Like Royce is going to be ready to play tomorrow.
Royce, they amputated both your legs. Yeah. I'm good.
No,
Just
I'm
throw
good,
me
bro.
out
I'm
there.
good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Someone can run for me. I can hit.
I got little feelers out there right now. We'll
okay.
Look at you go to work.
Hey, before we go, we have to at least acknowledge Joe Mauer week here. Joe Mauer going to go and be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Length of speech. Oh, is that the official hat? Oh, look at that, dude. That's awesome.
Oh,
yeah, I got it at Target Field. Length of a speech?
Yeah, how long are we going to... Is Joe going to go 20, 30 minutes? Or are we going to go like a snappy 10 or 11?
Oh, I think it's going to be quicker, and I think it's just going to be a bunch of thank yous. Like, I don't think Joe's going to get into like story time with the crowd about my upbringing. He's just going to thank everybody because that's just what he does. I'm actually going. I'm flying out Friday night, taking a red eye, meeting up with the boys, crashing a house with, I believe it's Dunsing, Nathan, Punto, and Dozier.
Oh my God!
Wow!
Just gonna get after it and have fun.
Your liver, man, has to be a mess right now,
dude. I'm wearing it for sure. I want to be home, and I was not gonna go because I have to go meet the team in Detroit like next week. Like a week from today, I'm meeting the team in Detroit. So this fell in between the All-Star game and that, and I was like, man, like. I just can't do it. I want to be home. And then my wife was like, you got to go. Yeah. And I don't know what that means. If she's like really like, hey, just you need to go and be there for Joe, or she's like,
go anywhere.
Sweet, you being gone. Yeah. No. But I'm doing it. So I'm flying in. I'm taking the red eye. I'm going to do it. I'll be there. To answer your question, I think it's going to be pretty short. He's like, I believe he's the last speaker of the day too. So Joe's gonna be like, oh, I don't want to keep anybody here any longer than you've already been. So my thank yous.
Super
Minnesota. He's gonna go through it. Yeah.
But between those boys that you just listed, like Dunce, Nathan, Dozier, yourself, which one will be up the longest and wanting to keep going and drinking and party? I think I know, but I would love to hear it from the horse's mouth too, if you'd be able to tell us.
The thing is, dude, everyone's getting old now.
Yeah, I know.
So like back in the day, like easily Punto. There's no doubt about it. It might be me. Might be me. Yeah. I think Doge is kind of like he's kind of like gotten sleepy in his old age, and Nathan he's way up there. I think it's Punto. But the truth is, this is the truth, is when those guys get around each other, or when the boys get back together, like the energy comes back out.
Yep.
So it could be all of us, for being honest.
It's gonna be wild, man. Save a couple stories for Tuesdays.
It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it. It'll be quick. I know, like, there's a lot of guys going up. I know, Morney's going up, obviously. Perkins. There's a lot of ex teammates going up there to support Joe, and it just kind of speaks to like the impact that he had on so many people. So that's just one little house. There's several others that are kind of all getting together, and should be fun.
First ballot. It's really cool that he's first ballot. and we've talked so much about him that it feels like he's even more appreciated nationally than locally sometimes, because like he signed the contract and never repeated the 09 season was always a big argument in town.
Yeah.
But dude, like to play that position and to grind through pain for your career and still hit 300 and get on base 40% of the time, just an incredible career. So first ballot, very deserving.
Yeah, I would have loved to see how long he could have stayed at catcher if he didn't have the concussion things. Like I like look at Sal Perez now. I'm like, I have so much respect for Sal Perez because he still catches so much. And dude, that guy has been in the big leagues since 2012 or something like that. And he's still just every day out there. And I respect that so much. I think Mauer would have been the same way. Like I think he would have played catcher for a long, long time. And then unfortunately, obviously the concussions happened, but
yeah.
Off of that, quick question. Should the Orioles consider moving Rutschman at some point to prolong his career?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I guess it depends on the guy, but like I said about a shortstop with offensive production, if you have a catcher with offensive production, it's kind of a cheat code. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd try to milk it as long as possible back there. You obviously have to talk to him, give him the DH days, which he does, and just try to keep him back there as long as possible. That's what I would do.
I would definitely.
Like all these. Yeah, let's go ahead.
I was gonna say I would definitely add though Sal Perez to your list of 6 active Hall of Famers that you threw at Chris. I think this last week, like 6 active players.
That wasn't my list, and I hate our social team for doing that because we do these things. We get those lists from like ranker.com, or that one might have been from The Athletic or something like that. So people think I made that list. I'm like, dude, I'm just reading off of paper, bro.
I just read what's on the teleprompter, man. Yeah.
Dude, so everyone's like, how could you not put this guy on your list? I'm like, it's not my list. It's your list. It's a reader poll. Like, you guys are yelling at yourself, taking it out on me. So yeah, look, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there, and that was just some poll we did. But again, our social team was like, I'm like, hey guys, you need to put per so and so. That's where the poll comes from. Because I'm getting it all the time. I can't even open my Twitter right now because they put something out and it's just people arguing in it.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I'm like, okay.
I think they're out to. I think the John Boy social team is maliciously out to get you on a weekly basis.
Mute conversation, Trevor. Mute.
Dude, I need to do that. People have mentioned
very helpful.
I need to do that. Yeah, it's a good call.
Great. Well, there he is, Trevor Plouffe, Coach Trev, about to take a red eye to, I don't know, some city and then probably drive to Cooperstown, however that works. Glad that you're in on the reckless speculation lifestyle.
Reckless speculation.
I'm excited for next week's episode. I'll have some stories for sure.
Some stories and closer to the trade deadline. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
All right, boys, that's a wrap. The SKOR North Twins Show. Trevor Plouffe Tuesday on a Thursday. See ya.